Once there was a human being who longed for peace. Not the surface-level quiet of a day off or an empty house, but a deeper peace. A peace that would remain even when life became busy. Even when thoughts began racing out like wind through an open window. This person was no different from any of us. For somewhere, deep within, nearly everyone knows the experience of a mind that never seems to grow completely still. When the body finally sits down or lies down, when the world slows for a moment, the mind often begins to speak more loudly. Thoughts about tomorrow appear. Memories of yesterday knock at the door. Worries, desires, regret, and hope move through awareness, like an endless procession. Ancient Tibetan texts describe this untrained mind as a waterfall, water pouring down without interruption, fast, forceful, constantly in motion. The water does not stop because someone asked it to. It flows because flowing is its nature. So it is with our thoughts. The first step on the path toward inner peace does not begin with control, but with recognition. The understanding that this restlessness is not a personal failure. It is the human condition. Generations before us have experienced the same. Zen masters, monks, thinkers, and seekers have spent centuries observing this stream of consciousness. And from those centuries of observation came a simple yet profound discovery. You do not have to stop the river in order to understand it. There are, in fact, two ways to look at our thoughts. The first way is to look at their content. What are we actually thinking about? Work, relationships, money, health, expectations from others, expectations of ourselves. When we observe this content carefully, patterns begin to emerge. Certain thoughts return again and again. We notice how thoughts shape emotions and how emotions influence behavior. By observing the content, we come to understand our inner world more clearly. But there is also a second way of looking, perhaps an even deeper way. Instead of focusing on what we think, we can notice that we are thinking. Simply registering that a thought has appeared, without judgment, without analysis, without being pulled into the story. In this approach, thoughts are often compared to clouds in the sky. Some clouds are light and drift away quickly. Others are dark and heavy. Yet no matter how different they appear, they share one truth. They move. They never remain permanently. Behind every cloud, the sky remains. And perhaps we are that sky. When someone begins to experience this truth, space slowly opens. Not because thoughts disappear, but because identification with those thoughts softens. We learn that we do not have to believe every thought. We do not have to fight them. We do not even have to change them. Suzuki Roshi, a well-known Zen teacher, expressed this in a simple instruction. Let them come, let them go. It sounds simple, and yet it is lifelong practice. Many people try to find peace by stopping their thoughts. They grow frustrated when they cannot. But trying to stop thoughts is like trying to hold back the wind with your hands. The harder you push, the more tension arises. The Zen approach suggests something different. Imagine sitting on the bank of a river. The water flows past you. Leaves, branches, and ripples move with the current. If you jump into the water, you are carried away. But if you remain on the shore, you can watch everything without being swept along. In the same way, you can observe your thoughts. This attitude requires patience. The mind cannot be forced into calmness. Old teachers often use the image of a craftsman working with a crooked piece of wood. If he pushes too hard, the wood breaks. But if he warms it and bends it slowly, with care and attention, can straighten without damage. The mind works much the same way. Gentleness often proves stronger than force. Over time, this gentle awareness opens the door to an even deeper practice, cultivating the heart. In many Buddhist traditions, the mind is compared to a garden. In this garden lie countless seeds. Some seeds grow into fear, anger, or jealousy. Others carry love, patience, compassion, and joy. The remarkable thing is that all the seeds are already there. The question is not which seeds exist, but which seeds we water. Every thought we give attention to, every emotion we nourish, receives energy to grow. When we dwell on resentment, resentment grows. When we consciously nurture kindness, kindness begins to flourish. A powerful practice connected to this is loving kindness meditation, also known as metta. In this practice, one repeats gentle wishes, first for oneself and then for others. Phrases such as, "May I be happy. May I be at peace. May I be safe. May I be free from suffering." Gradually, these wishes are extended to loved ones, to strangers, and even to those with whom we struggle. Not necessarily because they deserve it, but because a heart that practices love becomes calmer itself. Through these practices, something subtle begins to change. The mind does not become empty, but it becomes more spacious. Thoughts continue to come and go, but they lose their overwhelming power. Emotions still arise, but they feel less absolute. And perhaps this is the greatest discovery of all. Peace is not a destination somewhere in the future. It is not a prize we receive when everything becomes perfect. It is not a state dependent on silence, success, or control. Peace is here, in this breath, in this moment, in the simple awareness that we are alive and allowed to experience what is present, exactly as it appears. The path toward a quiet mind is not a sprint, but a walk, step by step, breath by breath, sometimes with clarity, sometimes with confusion, sometimes with trust, sometimes with doubt. Yet every time we return to attention, to gentleness, to acceptance, we plant another seed of peace. And perhaps in the end, we discover that the peace we were searching for was never far away. It waited patiently beneath the noise of our own thoughts, ready to be found the moment we became still enough to listen